Oh, come on in, come on in, come on in, everybody. Come on in. All right. We are live. We are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, let's get this thing queued up. We got a great episode lined up for you tonight, folks. This is a friend of mine, a true friend of mine, a man that if you knew him, you had to love him, man. You had to love him because he was one of a kind, and he was the people's champ. You know what I'm saying? He was the people champ, aka Mr. EBT. And it's been about 7 years now. 7-8 years now since his passing. And there's not a moment that don't go by that, when you talk about long distance riding, when you talk about getting that yonder, just the style of it, man, just talking about it. You got to look back at the people like Cali G, man. You got to look back at guys like this who got out there and pound that road and would fly coast to coast like it was nothing but a thing. But listen, tonight, this episode is about the tragic loss of one of those such riders, Cali. And, it crossed my mind. It hit me in the middle of the night. I said, I have to get it. I have to speak to his wife. I have to ask his wife for permission to do this. Could I do this? Could I highlight him? Could I address his legacy? And she said, Solo, she's like, it needs to be addressed. It needs to be shared. And I said, thank you. I said, thank you for letting me do this. So folks, I'm going to go ahead and bring his wife on. And I tell you, this is a touching moment for me. This is a touching moment for me. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good,
Thank you
good.
so much.
I don't want to get emotional. Because, Cali, me and Cali had one of those respectful ground pounders bond, like he said, Solo, I know you're getting it in. I know you're doing it. You really out there getting it in, man. And from that moment that we connected, it was just like nothing but respect for each other.
Yes, sir. You're one of those that he would call a real rider.
Yeah.
Like Solo's one of the real riders.
Yes, indeed. I'm gonna let these folks come on in. Come on in. Thank you for joining us tonight, Ms. Hill. There you go. Come on in, Mr. Joyner. Yes, sir. Come on in, T-Rock. Yes, sir. Oh, man, blessing. This is family right here, folks. This is family. But look, I'm going to go ahead and do this right now to show my respect, my love for my brother. I'm going to take off my hat and I'm going to put on my black top yonder because he made sure that I had a black top yonder hat. So I'm gonna pay my respect to him and my love for him for this whole episode. If you would, ma'am, I don't want to get all emotional. If you would, please introduce yourself to the audience tonight. We got family in here. Yes, come on in, folks. Come on in.
Hello, everybody. You can't help but get emotional. It's an
I
emotional
know.
situation.
I know.
My name is Delana Howard. I am the late, oh, I am the widow of the late Callie G, aka Greg, aka Mr. EBT, aka the People's Champ,
That's
aka
right. That's right.
get a whole list
I
of
know. He got the whole
names.
list, man. He got the whole list. Come on in, folks. Come on in, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. And if you would, ma'am, kind of just introduce the man to us for people who don't know him, because this was even though it seems short to us, 7-8 years is short to us. 2017 when he passed, and so the I don't want to say there's a new generation of riders, a new generation of long distance riders that may not know him. They may not know that man that we know. So if you would please kind of like introduce him as far as the man beyond the rider. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want people to know, the man beyond the rider, and then I want to hear your legacy about it.
Yes, he was definitely unique, one of a kind. There's no one like him.
Right, right, right.
You could love him and hate him at the same time. He had a heart of gold. He had a mouth of steel, but he had a
Hmm.
heart of gold. He would help. He would help anybody. He loved that motorcycle.
Yes, he did.
He loved riding. He loved riding. I met him. He rode in the rain. He rode in the cold. He wouldn't even drive his truck. He was a real rider. I mean, he
Right,
really enjoyed riding his motorcycle. I used to tease him and say, "I think you love that bike better than you love me." He enjoyed life. He was happy go lucky. He didn't let stuff stress him out. Even though he
right,
had a short life, he had a
right.
full life. He got
He
to
had a
do a
full
lot of
life.
things and see the world, and do a lot of things that some people will never do in this lifetime.
Right, right. And he leaves behind him his legacy, his offsprings, his sons.
Yes, we have 3 sons. We have 3 amazing sons.
Yes,
They are
yes, yes.
growing up.
Right. They're growing up fast. Cause I mean, when this happened 7-8 years ago, you know what I'm saying? They're just sprouting up now. You know what I'm saying?
They
And
are.
and
They
and
have
and
grown up. They're men now. They're
right,
basically men.
right,
I
right.
have one 22, 19, and 17. So they're men
Okay.
now. They've grown up, and they're some soldiers. Considering what
Right.
they've been through, they are some soldiers.
Okay, because they were young when it happened. They was young
Very
when
young.
it yeah, they was very young when it happened. And
Very young.
so um we had talked prior to um this episode airing, and I kind of addressed how I wanted to break it down in kind of phases so that we can get to the elephant in the room of him passing, and then how you had to deal with it.
Yes.
But I mean, he had been in clubs. He had been in the lifestyle, the motorcycle culture for a while. His club affiliation was on the West Coast, even though he was in Jacksonville, Florida, correct?
Correct.
So he would literally have to travel back to the West Coast to be affiliated with his club affiliation.
Right. Right. He
Right,
had to go. Right. He had to go back and forth. He was affiliated to a couple of them.
right,
He
right,
he was. I'll say this. He was well respected in a lot of areas. So he did have to go. His heart and the roots were from the West Coast.
right, right, right. He's originally from
He's originally
um
from Oakland, the town, California.
that's what I was trying to get at. That's
If
what I
you
was trying
know,
to
you
get
know.
at, man. Oh yeah. So he was originally from Oakland.
Oaktown.
He was from Oaktown. So if you know Oakland, if you know they get down, that's that East Bay Dragons. That's that
Goodfellas.
the good fellas and all those guys over there that's been around for a while. So Cali, that's where he come from. That's where his
Yes.
legacy is generated. That's where he started really getting out there, ground pounding, riding bikes, the style of bikes that he rode, the flair. Because coming back from the East Coast and the way that he was building his bikes, people really weren't
They weren't
with
hip
that
to it yet.
flair. They weren't
He
hip
born
to it yet. So he's a little
right,
bit before his time almost.
right. Born bred California, and he brought that flavor to Jacksonville, Florida. Like you said, the stuff they were doing with their bikes. Our very first bike, I was amazed. We bought it, it
Right.
was black. By the time
Right.
he got done, it was tangerine orange. So
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
they were on a whole different level from the West Coast, bringing it here.
Right, right, right. And so with that, like I say, man, you can take somebody, can uproot them, but you're still gonna have that love from where you're at, where you're from in you. And
Yes,
that's what he never changed up. It was
yes,
always Cali from the West Coast.
yes.
He was always Cali from the West Coast, man. And how did he get the name Mr.
And that's what's
EBT?
so funny. He did not get, you all gave the set, Facebook, social media, the set gave him that name because out there he's a whole total different name. I'll tell you all
Right.
that at the end. But Callie G came from being Facebook famous. You all gave
Right.
him that name here, living here on the East Coast. I guess like because everybody was like, he from Cali, he from Cali, he from Cali, and
Right.
he just gravitated to it. And next thing you know, they was like everybody's calling him Callie G. I'm like, who is that? He's like, I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yes, yes,
The
yes.
East Coast
So
gave him that name.
right. So he had his own flair about him. And I tell people, if you keep it real, real recognize real.
Yes.
And they still recognize him for who he was and his get down. So that's amazing. That's good to hear.
Yes.
When you think about it, when you leave a legacy behind, they say, how will people remember you? And what would they remember you for? And I think he left a good legacy behind him with who he was as the man, who he was as the rider. You know what I'm saying? And he represented the culture well. I look at him like that because I only look at the positive in everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You have to look at the positive in everybody. And I know I'm all over the place.
That's okay.
Like
That's
I say,
okay.
it's emotional to me. It's
Very.
emotional to me.
I appreciate you because I couldn't say his name before without breaking down, so I'm good.
Right, right. And that's good. That's good to see because people need to see this side of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's one of those things that we don't want to address. If we lose a brother, we lose a brother. But when you lose a husband,
Yes.
when you lose a significant other, people don't talk about that.
You lose everything. You lose friend, lover, provider, protector. The list goes on. And like you said, people don't see that because once it quiets down, everybody goes back to their own life. But me and the children are still suffering.
Exactly.
So
you
take it one day at a time. You just take it one day at a time.
Yes. And with that, there's phases with it. There's the initial shock phase of it.
Yes.
And then there's that, is it really true? Is it really happening? Is this really happening to me? And I want to go back to prior to this incident happened, when he was preparing to go on this ride. What was it like? I mean, was it a normal ride? Was he preparing for it?
Oh, he always prepared for rides. He's the type, he could ride by himself or he would ride with people, and he always prepared fully for it. Yes, he did have the situation where he had been hurt before he got on this ride, but he wanted to do it sooner, but I didn't let him. He wanted to do it sooner. I think he's going to do it eventually, but I didn't let him do it when he wanted to do it because I didn't think at that time he was ready. So he prepared for it. He prepared for it fully, and he was excited. He was like a kid in the candy store. Like,
I know he was because he talked to me. He called me and asked me for some guidance and some skate solo. What about this skate solo? What about that?
Right. He's like a kid in the candy store, and it was supposed to be more people, but then due to politics, it all changed. So it ended up just being 2 people. But he was excited. He was prepared for it. He was so excited he did it. He left on his birthday.
Wow. See, that's commitment, man. Commit or quit. That's what we was talking to my man KT Tuesday about it. He was commit or quit. You know what I'm saying? And when you're all in like that, when you have that passion for the lifestyle, when you have that passion for riding, it pulls you. It pulls you. It's a strong pull. And folks, if you haven't felt that pull yet, it will get you, and you have to be able to balance it. It's called balance.
Yes.
I lost that balance. And I admitted I lost that balance because I stayed on the road. I was on the road probably over 300 some days.
Ooh.
because it pulled me. It literally pulled me into every ride I had to make, every club event I had to be there. It wasn't even a question. And Cali had that same pull about him because
He
he
did.
talked about it. You know what I'm saying? If it was happening in LA, you could kind of feel see the twitch in him, like, like I gotta get on that thing. I gotta get on
Eat,
that
sleep, and
thing.
breathe. Eat, sleep, and breathe. I'm like, it can't be that serious.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's
But
that
it was.
serious. It's that serious, and I hate to sound like this, but it's almost a drug addiction because when you enjoy that thrill of riding, it gives you that rush that you need to carry on,
Yes. Yes.
and deal with certain things in life. But he was a well-balanced man. He was also a philanthropist. He was an entrepreneur. There was a lot of different phases about Kelly that people
Yes.
don't know. You
Don't
know what I'm
know.
saying?
Right. Right. He
Right,
was more
right.
than just Callie G.
Yeah, yeah. You don't get the name of calling somebody Mr. EBT just because. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
You all know what that's everybody thinks. Oh, EBT like the card. You know what it stands for, right?
Hit me with it. Let the
The
people know.
reason
Let
behind
people
it is
know.
because let me tell you the reason Mr. EBT stands for expensive big toys, because he liked to get his motorcycles and look at you see what he did to him. He would turn them completely to a different thing. He
Yes,
would
yes,
he bought
yes,
boats. He bought
yes.
everything he did big.
Yeah, he
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 was a little
did.
too flashy. With
but
that
he
West Coast
but
flavor in him.
he loved the life though. He loved life. And that's one thing you got to sit there and say, a person that love life, to get out there and enjoy. Because I tell you, you can't take it with you.
You can't.
I'm sorry, you can't take it. You can leave it behind. You can leave a legacy behind, and that's why I keep telling everybody: get insurance, get insurance, get insurance. Take care of your family. Leave
Yes.
that behind for them. But at the same
Yes.
time, you have to live life. And when you two were together, you rode with him.
Oh yes, he's that's the tangerine bike I was telling you
That's
about.
the tangerine bike. Yeah, I got it all. I got it all.
I've always been exposed to bikes where I was from and everything, but I've never rode. The first time I rode on a bike was with him. He
Mhm.
taught me everything. That's why when I did the run, it was easy to me because he taught me everything, because I enjoyed, being on the back of the Cadillac of the
Right,
motorcycle.
right, right.
When my first time on a bike, I'm on a Harley. I didn't know how to act, like, oh, this feels good.
Right, right.
So it was fun, especially living in the West Coast, because we would go up and down the A1A, and oh my God,
Mhm.
it was so beautiful. It was just a smooth, like you all know Crazy Cali,
Yeah,
the wheelies and the crazy and the race and all that. And I know that too, but with me, he didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? It was the
right.
smooth cruising, coasting, really enjoying his bike. And then you all saw the wild side.
The wild side of it, the big motor, the run your mouth, the
Yes,
the black top
yes,
yonder.
yes.
I love it. I love it.
Yes.
Hey, folks, I'm enjoying myself. Hey, I have Miss Delina Howard on with me tonight. The widow wife of Greg, Callie G. Howard, man. And I tell you, this guy was a good friend of mine. I call him a good friend of mine. We didn't speak every day, but we were to the point where we would pick the phone up and call each other and just kind of check on each other.
Yes.
I mean, the thing about this man here, and I just want to just kind of bring this in and show you just the kind of man that he was to me. When I was in a club, I was I was headed down south. I think we was headed to maybe um, Tampa or somewhere like that. But we were down in Jacksonville. And when I told him, I said, look, man, I'm coming through Jacksonville. He said, nah, Solo, you ain't coming through my city without me coming to escort you. And guess what he did? He
That's
came out
crazy.
there and met us on 95. And that's Cali right there on point, leading us through. And on top of that, he also put some change in my pocket and said, hey, brother, here's a tank of gas. Now, that's the kind of man that I remember. That's the man that I remember from when we would pick the phone up and just check on each other.
That's him.
That's
That
him.
was him.
That was
That's what
him,
he had a
man.
heart of gold.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did, folks. And you got to remember, folks, uh, Callie passed away about 7 years ago, and we're going to get to how he passed and all of that. But what we're doing now, we're trying to introduce the man to you because you don't know him. This generation of riders here, you'll sit there and say, Callie G, I don't know him. I don't get offended by it because I know the man. But what we're doing there is we're trying to show you who this man was. If you hear somebody say Black Top Yonder out of the blue somewhere, Black Top Yonder, Callie G. If you hear Callie G, Talking about Greg. Yeah, you talking about Mr. EBT. You know what Mr. EBT stand for now because his wife just explained it to you. That's right. That's right. That's right. Hey, I'm gonna enjoy this. I'm gonna enjoy this opportunity. But what I want to do now, Miss Howard, is kind of we talked about him prepping to go on this ride. We talked about him because he had a previous incident. Was he physically ready for this? Did he come and say, "I'm ready, honey. I feel as though I'm ready," or this is where I'm at with it?
I think he was a little too anxious, but I
Mhm,
do believe he was ready. He was ready. He knew his limits. He knew how far he could or couldn't go.
mhm. And when he talked to you, did he listen to you? Did he take your advice? I mean,
Yes.
you gotta
I
ask because some
actually
people don't
I'm the
take
only
that.
one he would listen to
Yeah.
when it came to that.
Yeah, yeah. So folks, you sometimes you just have to listen to your partner because your partner can see things that you can't see. You know what I'm saying? They see you when you don't see yourself. And
Right.
that's good to know. That makes me feel good knowing that proud of him going out there on this journey. He listened to you. He took your advice to heart. Now, the day come, his birthday. He's packed up, he's ready to go. Honey, I'm ready to go. The
How was
mood
that?
was how was that? How was that?
The
How
mood
was
was
that?
good. The vibe was good. The kids was all excited, because they was out of school and everything. And we
Mhm.
actually all went outside taking pictures of him. He was in our front yard. We was taking you would probably see the pictures where he's in front of the house. That's that day.
Right,
That was his birthday, and that's the day
right.
he was leaving. And everybody was excited and sending him off because I was gonna meet him in California.
Mhm.
So everything was just all ready. Everybody was ready for it.
Okay, okay, and of course I know his bike was ready, immaculate. I know he had that
Yes.
thing
Oh
ready to
yeah.
go,
He done had
uh,
it checked and done everything and what everything's supposed to do and checked it out and everything before he
top to
left.
bottom, top to
Mhm.
bottom. Now, did y'all establish a form of communication prior to him leaving? Like, honey, I would check in with you, um, you know,
Yes.
every stop. Did he
Every
run a
stop.
tracker? Did he run a tracker with you? How was that
How was the
send
communication?
off? How was that communication?
Every stop he would call me. And then we had this app where he would always send a location of everywhere he was at. Every time this app would show me everywhere he was, it followed him the whole route.
Right, right. So you was actually seeing him in real
Yes.
time, and that's what we use during the Hoka Hey. We use the Fleet Tracker, and some people
Yes.
we use Spotwalla, and there's a couple of other trackers out there. And I highly encourage people to use
Yes, to do it.
trackers to do that, to use tracker. And what is the one? Somebody put it in the comments. The one that and I actually have it on my phone because I hit a bump so hard that it sent a message out that it was a abrupt stop, and my old club brother from Japan called me and sent me a message. Said, "Bro, you all right? I just got this alert." And
Yes.
somebody put it in the comment if you can remember what the name of it is. But the thing, yeah, Ride 360. Thank you, Nurse Nifty. Thank you. 360, Glimpse 360. I think that's what it is. Definitely, definitely. Thank you. So I tell everybody, get you a tracker, establish that communication before you leave and hit the road with your loved one, because
Yes.
that helps ease it. That helps you stay in contact with them. They feel secure. They feel I'm there with you. Did you have that feeling, Miss Al?
Absolutely. Like I said, the tracker showed everything in real time. Every time he stopped for gas or food or whatever they did, he would call me. He'd always call. He'd always call. So I was with him the whole time.
Yes, 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 yes. And folks, um, you have to realize something. When we get on this road and we say we doing 48, we doing the ride 48, or we doing, even if we doing a saddle sore 1000 or 15.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Mic check.
Okay, we got you.
You got me now. And this thing here is all over the place tonight.
Okay.
But the thing is when you're out there doing saddle sore 1000, 1500, any long distance ride, um, it'll take you through places where you won't have a signal sometime. You won't be able to make that call sometime. That is the importance of having that Life 360 or having some type of tracker so that people can see you in real time. How we doing, FHO?
Hey, FHO.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I know that's right. And and him and Callie had a bond. Him and
That's
Big Cal
that's
had a
family. That's
that-
family.
yes, 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 yes. So if you would, ma'am, kind of give us some instances where he would call you and kind of just need to hear your voice, or just kind of need that pep and encouragement from you.
This the part is emotional, not good. So I'm gonna get straight to it and not stay on it too long.
Right, right.
He would call, like I said, every time they stopped to eat or drink, whatever. But I got a call 2 hours before he went down.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't pretty. It was the two of them arguing. So I'm gonna leave it at that. So
Right,
not good. So I try to calm them down because you don't need to be in the middle of the desert arguing.
right.
So I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay, okay. And I understand, and like I say, folks, I'm tiptoeing through the garden. I don't want to step on the roses. I don't want to step on the tulips. But I want Miss Howard to share her experience with this, and we're going to get to more emotional parts to it. I just don't want to step on the roses. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I have much respect for you as Callie wife. I have much respect for you for all that you've done, continuing his legacy. You know what I'm saying? Because you have kept his legacy going. You have kept his name out there. You know, I wish I had the video, and we talked about it. There's this video that somebody did. I don't know if Gorilla Blue did it.
It was
do we know? I definitely want to give recognition to that individual who put that together, because it's a real nice video commemorating
King
Callie.
Creations.
King Creations. King Creations. So shout out to King Creation for putting that together. Like I say, folks, take plenty of pictures, take videos of yourself in your ride, and kind of just like capture the moment, because your legacy needs to be captured. And I tell everybody has a legacy. Yes, Lane. Yes, Mello. Yes, Mello. I definitely know how it feels. I just lost my husband December.
Oh, so sorry.
So sorry. My condolences, respect. Thank you. But we're gonna get to the point now where this is gonna be touching to me. And this is what people don't generally talk about, this side of it. When the incident happened, what was your reaction? What was that moment of just, is this really happening?
I got a call from an individual and it was a bad call, the way they called me. Mm-hmm. And it was so bad that me and that individual still don't speak to this day, and it's been almost 8 years. Mm-hmm. The way it was told to me, and the person that told me should have not been that person.
Right.
So when I got the call, I was in shock, and I was just like, okay, he's probably hurt.
Right.
That's what was going through my head at the time. I was like, oh no, Daddy's hurt, because we call him Daddy. Daddy's right. hurt again. And right. I hadn't even told the kids. I'm in my room, and right. I'm like, Daddy's hurt again. So it bothered me the way the person, what they said to me. So I took my investigative self, and because of where they, I had just talked to him 2 hours ago, and based on the location, so I kept trying to get through to the other individual, and I couldn't get through. Kept trying to get through. I'm like, well, not answering my calls, but you had this person call me when you should have called me. So anyway, fast forward, I finally found out the area that he was in. So I called the local sheriff's department, police department there myself. This is all like after I got this call, because I'm thinking, oh, he's just hurt. What hospital did he go to? He tough. He's invincible. Right. So I call, finally get through, and the dispatcher answers, because it's a little small area out there. It's outside of Nevada. It's right outside of Vegas in Ely, Nevada. It's a little desert. It's all in the desert.
Right.
And she was like, I'm actually the lady that took the call. Yeah, a biker went down. She's like, I said, well, I'm his wife. She said, well, give me a moment. I'm going to contact the officer on site, and somebody will call you back. So okay,
Right.
thank you very much. So finally when I
Right.
hung up, I'm still thinking he's hurt. Oh my gosh, what he done hurt, what hospital is he in? I gotta fly here and see how he's doing.
Right.
So anyway, the the sheriff or the attorney, police officer, what I'm saying, attorney, the police officer calls me back and he said, sorry, Miss Howard, but he's gone. I'm like, what? Not Callie, not Greg, not Daddy. So then I called my cousin and I started screaming and telling her and stuff. So I told her, I said, then I started getting all these calls come through, all these calls coming through. And I'm like, I'm gonna call you back. I said, because I just don't know what to do. So I'm trying to calm down. And I'm in my room, and I screamed, hollering. My kids that came in here and I'm like, oh my God, they done heard me screaming. So I said, give me a minute, boys. So I'm going back and forth. I'm like, do I tell my kids now? Do I wait? Going back and forth. I said, well, I'm gonna be up all night pacing and on the phone. I might as well just get it over with now. So I called them in there, and this is the worst. Other than losing him, that was the worst thing I've ever done in all my life, was have to tell my children that their daddy wasn't coming back home. That was the number. I have three. Number two and number three just walked out the room. Number one, who's the one that's like turned out, loves the motorcycle set. His first vehicle would have been a motorcycle if Daddy wasn't gone. He starts screaming and saying he hates the motorcycle set. And he just, he's blaming everything on the motorcycle set because, he's on the outside, not understanding everything, just seeing all the bad. And it finally calmed them down, and them just started getting calls, and then from there just calls and 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 calls. And then I had to call his dad because his mother was in the nursing home at the time. She didn't even know her baby passed away because she had dementia. She had ended up with dementia. So I had to call his dad, and I was scared. So I didn't. I called one of his brothers and told him what happened so that he could call, his dad and let him know everything that's going on. So just calls and calls and calls all night. Was calls. Like I stayed up for 3 days straight with no sleep after he died because I could not go to sleep. The adrenaline was just rushing, and the calls and the stress and the mess that was all involved in going on. It was just overwhelming. It was just unbelievable. I could not believe he was gone. It just wasn't real because he got hurt before, and I ended up we had to go to the hospital, and we got through that. So I'm thinking, oh, he's just gonna he's gonna be fine. He's hurt, but he really was gone. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, now we can.
Okay. I know there's been a gentleman out in Las Vegas that's been very supportive to you, and I'm gonna bring him in. I'm gonna bring him in. How you doing, sir? Can you hear us?
Yeah, what's going on?
How you doing? How you doing? We're in an emotional moment right now. We're at an emotional moment, but we
Yeah,
were
I know.
talking.
I'm trying to drive and not cry.
I know we're all dealing with this one, man. This is a tough one. This is a hard one, but I wanted to share this because it needed to be shared. It needed to be shared.
Yeah.
So
Um.
folks, I want to introduce you to some. We got Gorilla Blue on. Gorilla Blue has been very supportive to Miss Howard, to the legacy of Callie. He's been there. He actually took her to the site where Callie went down. And if you would, Gorilla, just kind of just tie us in to the location, to just your portion of it, you know what I'm saying? Because I think you were probably one of the first ones to kind of, matter of fact, you were probably one of the first one, the last one to see him prior to him pushing out to that section of the desert. Am I correct? Can you hear us, GB?
Yeah. Delana got me crying, man.
I'm sorry.
Oh man, I'm trying to hold it together over here.
Hey, yeah, I was
Mr. Casella, they say they can't hear
I
you.
was
Some of the people say
one
they
of the
can't hear you.
Okay.
I was one of the last ones that that seen him. I took um the last picture that he took. We took one together, and
Right.
I was one of the last ones. It was three of us.
Mhm.
It was the lady that he called auntie or somebody,
Miss
and
Pam,
yeah, it was her. 'Cause we was at
Uh-huh.
her house,
Right.
and it was me and my now
G
VP
Money.
G Money.
Yep. G
Yeah,
Money. Yep.
and you know, like I kept telling him, like
Go on and tell them because you were there.
I kept telling, um, I kept telling him he should wait
Right.
because you see all the salt in his face, like he has salt all over his body, and I lost some coworkers because their bodies locked up on them because all they salt came out their body working in the sun.
Right.
And
Right.
I kept telling him like I kept I kept telling him like, man, you need to be cool. Just sit down and get some rest and drink some water or whatever, and he was like, nah, fuck that, G Gorilla Blue. I'm nigga black top yonder all the way. I'm a this and
I know. I know. I know,
and and
man. I
um
know.
and
I know.
he was just and I wanted to put his bike on the flat, but I said I don't want to be fighting this nigga. He a big old nigga.
Yeah, he was small.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have fought or nothing. We would have been arguing because Callie G was more than a friend of me. He was my brother. We
Right.
talked on the phone
Right.
damn near every day, and it was times
Right.
we would be on the phone and I hear lady in the background talking about get off that phone,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that, and but I tried to get him to stay. I even talked to the other individual. I was like, man, y'all don't need to go. And he was
Right.
like, man, he ain't trying to hear it, Gorilla Blue. So me and G Money saw him off, and I kept telling G Money, man, I hope he stop and get some rest. And then I was at home. I went home, carried out through the day,
Mm-hmm.
and I got a phone call from the homeboy Stony from All In,
Right.
and he know how close me and Cali G was and is. He said, "Hey Blue," he said, "Man, you might want to do a fact check, man. I heard Cali G went down. Now, how the fuck Stony hear about that?
I
I
got
have
to
no idea."
I know you're a level 10 on the profanity, but I got to keep this one down,
Okay,
GB. You know that.
how Stony heard about it? I don't know how Stony heard about it, right?
Right.
And
Right.
I'm gonna try not to cuss. Um,
We know.
and so when Stony told me, I started calling around and I talked to the individual, and I don't care who don't like what I said. I didn't, the story that he gave, I just wasn't feeling it. So eventually Lena ended up answering the phone. I don't remember, man, but I ended up
Right.
talking to her, and
Right.
she was mad and she was going off on me, and it was a lot of stuff, man,
Right.
but
Right.
once she calmed down, she called me, and she was still turned up.
Right. Right.
She was,
But that's family though, man. That's family.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
she
We
was still
family.
turned up, and she didn't want to talk to me no more, and all this, and we didn't talk for a long time. And my spirit was like, call Delana. So I
Right.
inboxed her and all that. I called her and we talked and we cried and we prayed and we cried. And I'm like, man, I want to take you, so you can get closure to where Callie G went down at. And man, we rode for about 2.5, 3 hours.
Now
Me, her, her
that was
kids.
out the 95, 93 9515 to the
No. It was the 15 to the whatever that one is that go to Coyote Springs, right there,
yeah,
at
93.
Apex.
The 93. The 93. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
and when we got on there, we looking for the marks because we got the paperwork. She got the information from the news people, and I got the screenshot what I saw from the news people put up from the article. And man, we driving and driving, and we keep seeing that same fucking landmark. Excuse me. We
Come
keep
on,
seeing
Gorilla.
that landmark. So we driving, and I'm like, man, I don't know. So we
Hold
was
on,
like,
Boo. Hold on,
Hold
Boo.
on.
Hold that thought. Let me tell them. This was a year later. Now go ahead. To the
This
date.
was
and
to the date.
yeah,
It was a year later. Yep.
yes. Now, mind you, it rained out there. We get really, really bad dust storms to where stuff get buried and you don't even know where it's at no more because that's how bad the weather is. So
Right.
we get out there, we pass through the little city. I think we stopped and we was talking to the police. I think we talked to a post office person and I think a police officer. And he was like, yeah, you got to just keep going down there. You're going to be riding. You're going to come across a little curb. When you come across that little curb, start looking for it. Man, we went across the little curb. The sign is knocked over.
Hmm.
I don't know if she saw it, her son saw it, or me, but we saw it. And we stopped and we got out. And I said, I'm going to drive up right here a little bit, be past it, and we'll walk back. Man, it's like we was on a scavenger hunt, man. We was out there looking. And I was like, damn, man, dang, man, man, please forgive me for my cousin. I said, dang, man, I don't see nothing. So I went in the middle of the street
Right.
and we saw, I don't remember what it was, Lena, but
It
remember I
was.
said, look at
We saw
this.
the point of. We actually got the point of impact because we found the vehicle that he the we still don't know the truth. The
Right.
impact that he had.
That he came in
We
contact with,
saw we got a piece of it. It was a Toyota. We had
and a
a piece
piece
of
of
the
his
seat
motorcycle.
Toyota that was
And a
standing
piece
Uh-huh.
of the motor, yup, and a piece of the motorcycle was embedded in, however you said, embedded in the asphalt.
Yes.
So I said, look at this. So she was like, yeah, we found it. We
Right.
found it. So we out there looking. We ain't got no machines, no nothing. We just looking. So I was like, Lena, come here. And guess what I saw? A black top
Black top
yonder hat.
Yonder hat.
A black top yonder hat
Yep.
buried
Yep.
in the sand. We pulled it out, and then we found keys. We start finding stuff, and Lena just started crying. She was like, "I remember." I think she said I gave him this, and his son was finding some stuff. It's like we all was finding stuff.
I
You know
still
what I'm
have that
saying?
hat to
And
this day.
this
A
is a
package of
year
it. Yeah.
later. This is a
Yes,
year
it's a
later.
A
year
year later.
later,
A
a
year to the
year
date.
to the
Right.
date.
Right.
A year to the date, and we found a whole bunch of stuff, and we could have found more if we was looking, but I just wanted to get her out there
Right.
so that she can have a peace of mind. And some people may not understand it, but she needed to have a peace of mind to where her husband was at, the
Right.
road that he was riding. Now
Right.
I honestly know that she's gonna agree with me that they need to widen that road out because this shit in it, man. Let me tell you something. One car barely can fit on that 2-lane highway going one way.
I
Yes,
know that
narrow.
And
highway.
if you move a little bit, your butt gonna be in the dirt.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's
it did it like you said, I needed some closure. It's not,
right. Right.
because
It's not the whole
I
thing,
would, yeah,
but
Right.
it's
yes,
a peace of mind to see
it's
where he
peace of
was at.
mind.
Right.
Right. And it answered a lot of questions that I
Right.
needed answered.
Right. Gorilla, I thank you for coming and sharing that
Thank
piece
you,
with
Thank
Boo.
you,
us,
bro.
man.
You
Um,
welcome. I love you, Lena, and
Love you too.
and 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 I'm always gonna be here for you, man. And I would say something else, but I don't want the internet to blow up. But you
No.
already
Right,
know what it
right,
is.
right.
Hey,
We
no, hey, Solo, no, it. You know, I texted to her today, so she know what I
right,
said.
Yeah.
right, right,
All
right.
right, but
Thank
much
you.
love and respect to y'all, man.
All right.
Thank
Take care,
you.
GB. We'll talk.
All right, love y'all. Peace.
Thank you for having him.
Yeah, I know. I know. The thing is I wanted to bring him on because he was there to take you out there to the location. And this is going to go into our final portion of this right here. Um, folks, this is a very powerful episode. Um, just give us just 1 minute. I'm gonna give her a chance to take a break right quick, and we'll be right back.
What's going on, y'all? Lincoln Infield here, Carolina's Full Throttle Magazine. Always a proud supporter of K Solo and everything he does, his rides, everything like that. Amazing association, man. I'm proud to be associated. Y'all take it easy. We'll see you around.
And we're back, folks. I just have to give Ms. Howard a chance to just
Thank
kind
you.
of pull herself together. Thank you for joining us tonight. This has been a very emotional episode, but it needed to be shared. Callie's legacy needed to be shared. And
Yes.
there's a lot of roses and tulips that we're not stepping on tonight because we're going to keep the garden fresh. We're going to keep the memory fresh. We're going to keep the legacy positive, and let everybody take some notes from this. If you're in this lifestyle, whenever you leave the house, there's always this possibility that that phone call may happen, that you may receive that phone call. And hearing someone else's stories, hearing someone else's journey, dealing with it could potentially help you to stay stronger, to get through it. Because when something like this right here happens, it's really how you handle it, your strength in you to get everybody else through, to get the family through, to get you through it, to get to that other side. And Miss Howard, what I want to talk about now is that after we put our brother to rest, after we lay him down, we still have his bike in the garage. We still have his clothes. Because he had 2 bikes, 3 bikes, I think. We still have the boat. We still have all of that still tied to the lifestyle that's still there. How do we deal with that? How was that dealt with? Does it become a shrine? Does it become a family heirloom? Is it passed down to the next, or is it just like no more? We don't want no more of this in the family.
It varies. You have episodes. It depends on what it is, and you have episodes.
Mhm.
You have episodes where you come home and you don't want to be in your house.
Right.
You have episodes where you come and you change everything in your house.
Mhm.
You have episodes where you come and you sit in the car and you cry before you come in the house.
Right.
You have episodes where you pull up, and I held on to it until about 2 months ago. I just sold his truck. I was going to pass it to my oldest son, but they're like, too much gas, mama.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
too much for them. But
Right.
you hold some things that you can't let go of, and then there's
Right.
some things that you let go of physically, but you don't mentally and emotionally.
Mhm.
You just take it one day at a time, because you're going to have your moments. Like I said, thank you for this. I had been doing well. I used to couldn't even say his name. If somebody mentioned his name, get away from me. I break down. I didn't want to talk.
Right.
I couldn't talk about it without crying.
Right.
You take baby steps. You
Mhm.
you have good days and bad days. I couldn't look
Right.
at my kids because they look
Right.
like it.
I
But they bring me joy at the same
Right.
time, because I wouldn't have made it without them.
Right.
So it's just you take it one day at a time, and you hold on to the memories. Nothing like memories. I hate it. I hate that I canceled his social media page, but when it
Right.
happened, I woke up every morning and it depressed me to hear his voice every day and him not be here.
Mhm.
But I have videos and pictures and all that stuff that I listen to, that I have to hear his voice.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
you have your moments. You go somewhere And it was hard because you would go somewhere and you see, I'd be in a restaurant, Kelly G's family. I'm like, oh,
Right,
I'd be
right.
in the
Yeah.
Home Depot. What up, Kelly G? Miss EBT. I'm like, oh,
That's
yeah.
it.
It would be too much. Everywhere I
Right,
went, he was
right.
well known everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, he
So
was. Yeah, he
it was
was.
hard in the beginning because, you know, the healing process is like, please don't say his name because I've been thinking about him all day. But then it brings me joy in the same sense because, dang, they loved him. A
Right.
lot of
Yeah.
people love, you know, a lot of people hate, but a lot of people love
A lot
too.
of people loved him. Yeah, yeah,
A lot
yeah.
of people love him. A lot of people respected him. And I'm like, it's beautiful on one end and it's sad on another end. And that's why when I was saying that I did the run for him, I had to do it. You know, I had always rode on the back. I went to get the bike. I bought a bike before I knew how to ride. I took the class. I trained for a year by myself. I said, I gotta be perfect. I trained for a year by myself.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
And I did the run for him. And it was
So
like,
you did,
did
you
like
do?
He was there.
It was did you, I think, I can't remember the name of it. Was it the Cali G run? It was,
yes, Cali G run. And I did it. I made it sentimental. He was a merchant seaman far as his job. So he worked through the union. And then, you know, he was on the bike set. His love was bikes. So I did a run around the city. I went down where he docked at for the ships. I came back around to the Union Hall where he picked up his jobs. And then I ended it where they built one of his bikes.
Okay. Now I know I had a picture up.
And now I have 2 bikes.
Now you have 2 bikes. Because he actually had a bike in the shop, I think, that was getting worked on or something like that while he was on that run.
No, I said I have 2 bikes.
Oh, now you have 2 bikes. Okay. Because but Kelly had a silver. He had a silver and red. Then he had the yellow. Well, he would get paint jobs like changing socks almost.
Yes, all the time.
All the time.
I used to get so tickled. I said, if I see one more bike park come in this house, I'm gonna screw you.
But now this is one of your sons with the tattoo.
Yeah,
am I correct?
That's the oldest one. That's number 1 with the tattoo in dedication to his dad.
Okay. And I know they were younger. You talked about how they were emotional. How have they grown with it now? I mean, of course, your son has his legacy forever tattooed on him. I mean, have they showed interest in wanting to get into the lifestyle?
All of them were into it. Number 1 was turned out. His, like I said, if he hadn't lost his dad, his first vehicle would have been a motorcycle. He's a little emotional now. He's like, I'm never going to do it because it was supposed to be me and daddy's thing. But I continue to ride and bought bikes to try to influence him that don't give up. You don't know how happy your daddy would be looking down on you.
Right.
So I'm hoping that he will decide to change his mind and go ahead and ride.
Okay.
And the other 2, they're just kind of like, I might not.
Right. But it's just one of those things, folks, where you know, we were talking to KT, and KT was talking about growing up in LA and seeing choppers pull up in his front yard. That leaves an impact on a youth, or someone of young age that's got their future ahead of them. You know, that's why I say aspire to inspire. It's not just inspiring your next man. You got to look at yourself when you're riding down the road, how you going to, and you know, aspire or influence somebody else, the youth, the future. You're going to leave a positive image with them. You know what I'm saying? They bump into you, a young man, you shake his hand, you speak to him. You never know. That may inspire them. So, you know what? I want to be a biker. I want to get a motorcycle, or I want to live that lifestyle in a positive aspect. But your husband definitely did that. And I can't thank you enough for sharing him with us. Is there anything that you would like to share with the audience tonight? I mean, I just want to just give this to you and let you just share what you will dealing with this.
It's definitely been an emotional roller coaster. I don't wish it on nobody. It's a never-ending healing process. Because like I said, you'll have moments where you're fine, and then you have moments where it takes you back. One step at a time. Let those that really love you, that are trying to help, let them in. Because sometimes when you're going through emotional stuff, you push people away because you don't understand. Those that really do love you, let them in, let them know how you feeling, because you need people. When you're going through stuff like this, you really do need people. Be careful. There are snakes.
Right.
But those that are genuine, open it up to them. Stay, be thankful for your children. Sometimes your children get on your nerves, but during that time, I needed my boys. You know, I needed the strength of boys going through that.
Right. Okay. And when I say your husband and I had a bond, we had a bond.
Yeah.
We had a bond. That was probably the last picture that we took together. I was down in Jacksonville on that run, and I said, "Hey man, I know you got your states. I know you cross borders. Hey man, I'm gonna present you with your Have Iron Will travel patch." Back when I was doing Have Iron Will travel, and he said, "Solo man, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it because that was Cali.
Yes.
People, you had to love it, man. You had to love it."
He was definitely one of a kind.
Yes, indeed. Well, folks, I've just wanted to take some time and share this with you. I didn't want to go into too deep. If we did get a little emotional tonight, I thank Gorilla Blue for calling in and sharing his perspective. Miss Howard giving us the opportunity to share Callie's legacy and just kind of introduce her husband to the people who don't know him. I just wish that there was more that we can share with you tonight. But it's just one of those things where I think we're there. I think we're there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do appreciate this. I do appreciate this so much. So much.
Right. And and we will definitely be in touch. I know now. Is there any memorial rise or any events that's in his memory, that's in his name?
They wanted me. The one I did was in 2021. 2021. Forgive me.
Right.
And it's just been so emotional. It's hard to do it. It's so emotional. But I am working on something now, so hopefully everything will pan out and work out, and I will let everyone know. So
okay. Or even if we do a commemorative Black Top Yonder shirt, hat, or anything like that, to just continue to let his legacy carry on with this new generation. Yes. I know Gorilla Blue said, "Hey, let's bring it back. But I know there's a lot into it. But even if we just did a shirt or something like that right there, that we could sit there and just kind of carry his legacy forward into the new generation of riders, so that they can know, hey man, there's all types out there.
Yes.
And when you lose,
I will get that working. And even though I have no desire to do the 4850 state,
right,
I would be open to do Florida to Cali, East Coast, West Coast run for him.
Okay. Don't tell me that now.
I would.
Because listen, I'll meet you down in Jacksonville. We do the IT to the end and lock it in. Well, Miss Howard, listen, I want to thank you for coming on tonight. I really do, on a Thursday night, and sharing this with us. Before I go, I just have to ask: is there anything else that you would like to share?
I just want to thank a few people, and I hate naming names because you forget people.
Right.
I want to thank everybody that supported me and my children. I do, and everybody that prayed for us and everything. But I have a few people that
please,
were up close and personal with me. So y'all, look, I'm old, so forgive me. First, of course, I want to thank God that I didn't lose my sanity in this.
Right.
I want to thank my boys for their strength. They are true soldiers. I want to thank my cousin / sis Jonelle, because she stepped up and she was really a big sister to me through that whole experience, and always is. I want to thank Mr. Harry Collins. He's always been there for me. Gorilla Blue, thank you for surprising him, letting him come on.
Right.
Thank him. I want to thank Pastor Cedric and Lady Matthews, Elder Forrest Fikes and Lady Fikes, Cold Blue, God rest his soul.
Right.
James Lewis, God rest his soul. Seafarers International Union, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And Richmond Cycle for everything. And if I didn't name you all, charge it to my head, not my heart. I want to thank those that came. Trinice, I see you on here. Thank you. The ones that did come to the run that I had. I want to thank you all for always supporting him. I want to thank you all for so much for loving him, because a lot of people loved him. I
Right.
went to one event and I couldn't even sit in his lap. Every time he had to get up and shake a hand, get up and hug somebody. I said, "Oh, let me just stand behind you. You do what you do." Everybody loves him, and I appreciate the love from the bike set. You know, we have haters and everything, but the ones that
Right.
were really there and genuine, I want to thank them all, from Goodfellas, Reverie, all of them. You know, we got good and
Right.
bad and everything. So
Yes.
the good one, thank y'all. You know who you are. And
Right.
and I want to thank you for this, because you're right. This should have been done a long time ago. So I
Right.
do appreciate that. You know, long live Callie G, because he did make an impact on the bike set. He's been riding bikes since he was 9 years old.
Yeah. You see that, folks? That's I can't stress it enough. I can't stress enough. Miss Howard, I thank you.
Thank you.
Much respect, much love to you. If there's anything that I can do, you have my phone number. You want to do that ride to the West Coast, let me know. We'll put something together. I'll get you there safely and sound. Folks, thank you for tuning in tonight. This has been a very emotional episode. It's been emotional for me just to even put it together. But this is what I want to do with this platform. I want to highlight riders. I want to highlight legends. I want to highlight unsung riders and share this with my community, with you, because the thing is, we love this lifestyle. We love this passion of riding motorcycles. There's plenty sides. There's plenty stories behind it that needs to be shared. And this is one of them. Miss Howard, thank you very much. You have a good night.
Much.
God bless.
Thank you so much, K Solo. Bye-bye.
Folks, I tell you, this has been emotional for me. This is probably one of the most emotional episodes that I put together that I wanted to share with you. But I definitely wanted Callie, wife, to have her moment to be able to express herself and share what she felt, how she felt before the ride, during the ride, after the ride, the support, all of it. And like I say, we didn't want to step on any roses. We didn't want to step on any tulips. So there's some things that weren't discussed that Miss Howard is holding in her, but she want to leave a positive impact of her husband. She want a positive impact of her husband. So listen, folks, I'm going to try to pull this video up and show it to you. Hopefully I can get this thing to work to kind of take us out of here.
Boom! Black top now.
Oh, shit. The EV coming out. Man.
Hey, yo, shout out to Black Diamond.
And at the same time, the way I had it, I was just like, I got to get back on the motorcycle. And my mind was determined to get back on the motorcycle. My body wasn't physically ready, but I was trying to push myself forward. I can say that. So I know a lot of people that got into accidents and never got back on bikes. I don't think I was just thinking that I always like, I'm gonna die on a motorcycle. I'm gonna ride most of heaven.
Hey, yo, shout out Black Diamond.
right, folks. I'm going to go ahead on it and kind of leave y'all with this positive message. Love your family. Listen to your family. Love this lifestyle that we all love of riding motorcycles. Support each other. Support each other. Be there for each other. Show the respect and love for each other. Thank you all for coming on tonight for this special episode of Riding with K Solo, the podcast. You have a good night and God bless.